My name's Nick. I'm 15 and from Greenfield, Massachusetts.
So do you want to just tell me a little bit about how quarantine or COVID-19 has affected you so far, or how your experience has been?
Well, I feel like quarantine, it hasn't, affected me in any, really major ways. Like, um, cause, with the cause even without stimulus, my family is, doing okay. Cause, they're programmers, so they don't really need to go into an office, necessarily. So I'd mainly say it just affected my school life because it's like before it's like, oh yeah, it's like social interactions with people at school, but now you don't really have those.
Okay, so is there anything that you were happy about missing? Maybe it was with school, something out of school?
Yeah. I would say I'd honestly say I am kind of happy that the end of the year took place virtually, just because it's like normally it's like a whole it's normally a really big thing, but virtually it was just like, oh, go to a Zoom call and then we'll have like a nice virtual presentation of graduation and the 8th grade moving up ceremony. So all that was really, really nice. Not to say that the in-person ones aren't nice as well, it's just that this was a lot more relaxed.
That's good, because a lot of people were saying, I just talked to a senior, the last interview I did, I haven't posted it up yet, but
Oh yeah.
for them, they definitely had a different perspective on it.
Oh yeah, of course, because they're seniors, so it's like their graduation.
Yeah, I'm reading how a lot of schools are having trouble deciding versus virtual or online schooling. Has your school decided anything yet?
I don't think it's really anything definitive. The most that I've heard is that my school is thinking of trying to slowly transition back to in-person learning starting midwinter term. But that's pretty much all I've heard. All I know is that fall term is going to be virtual.
Do you feel like you learn better in online school or in person?
I feel like I learn better online, especially when teachers end up posting the conversations to Google Classroom, because then if I didn't get something, I can just go back and be like, oh, so that was the thing that I forgot, as well as taking notes and stuff like that. It's just like a thing that helps a lot, so that way if I forget something, I can just go back.
Do you know if your school's going to have any sort of exams yet, or is that not really clear?
I personally haven't heard anything, but I honestly think that they're probably gonna just try to do pass-fail, and probably not exams, because those would be pretty hard to do online.
If you do end up going back, in the winter term, are you going to be worried about going back, about getting coronavirus, or are your parents worried about that?
Personally, I am worried, but mainly just for my parents, because I know my mom's good with immunity and stuff, but my dad is a little bit worse with that, and also he runs a business, so he can't really afford to get corona. So I'm kind of worried about that aspect of oh well, I don't really want to do that because then he wouldn't really be able to work. Yeah.
What type of business does your dad own?
Oh, he owns a software. He owns a website company called Yes Exactly. Yeah. But it's mainly just him and one other person, so it's if one of them gets sick, it's a whole setback.
If all of this organizing and decision making was up to you, do you think that you'd be doing the same thing your school is doing, or would you have done this all differently?
I feel like I'd probably be doing the same thing that my school is doing, just because of the current climate, like political climate, and like just and like health climate that's going on in the U.S. right now, I definitely would be doing the same thing that my school is doing.
Yeah. Are you doing anything to prepare for online school, or is it really just sitting back and waiting for school to start?
I mean, the most I can say is I'm trying to get myself used to staying up late at night and getting 2 hours of sleep.
Because you're going to have a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like getting back into that school schedule.
Do you play any sports, or do you know that if any sports are going to be happening at your school?
I play like rec tennis and ultimate frisbee, but I don't think that rec tennis, which is a fall sport, is going to be happening because they're going to be doing online school in fall.
Mm-hmm. Are they going to have some sort of like system where students are exercising and stuff like that?
I know that the head of athletics, I know that he like put out a thing where it's like the exercise of the week, so that I forget if it was compulsory or optional, but it was like a thing of exercises that people could do. So that way, like, people still remain active and don't just become blobs, kind of.
Have you gone out of state during summer break at all?
No, I haven't really. The only places I've been to are like the mountain and the woods around my house and the grocery store. Can't believe I'm saying this, but now I love the grocery store because I get to be around people.
And when you go into the grocery store, how is your state seem to be handling it? Like, all the citizens, are they wearing masks and social distancing, or do people seem like they've been slacking off since it's been a while?
Some people definitely do seem like they are starting to slack off, where it's like, oh, well, I've heard Corona's going down, or, so I don't need to wear a mask, or, like, for the Trump supporters, like, as long as I drink bleach, it'll be fine. But, no, it seems to be good so far, but I have noticed, like, some people just being like, oh, well, I'm young, so I don't need to really do this, because it won't affect me. Aside from that, like with stores in general, I have seen them like starting to limit like the amount of people allowed inside of a store so that it doesn't become really crowded and social distancing doesn't become impossible.
What have you been doing to pass your time this summer, or have you started any new hobbies?
Oh yeah. I've started doing kind of 3D stuff with a software called Blender, mainly just to pass the time and also because it's what I want to get into when I grow up. So I figured why not just start now. It's been pretty fun and it has definitely made time pass instead of just like sitting around doing nothing for 3 months.
What do you do with is it called Blender?
Mhm.
So what do you do when you're on Blender?
Mainly, you can do a lot of things like video editing, and like 2D animation, 3D animation. But what I do at least is I like end up making like 3D like you know like characters in like video games or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I make art like that. Obviously not for things because I don't really have a work permit yet, but I just make that stuff on my free time, which now is all the time.
That's really cool. You should, I don't know, create like an outlet to put it all on like a YouTube channel or something. That would be really cool.
Oh yeah, totally.
And so have you been able to balance normal social life while in quarantine, or like do some social distancing meetups, or like being able to call friends, FaceTime them, anything of that sorts?
I mean, my social life is normal. It has been normal because my social life has normally just been no social life. But no, yeah, I have had like a couple of friends over where it's like we both have like quarantined for a while, but like still wear masks. Mainly just invite them over to watch movies. Recently my mom and I got like a projector and a king size sheet, so now we can project movies. So that's been a
So
nice thing. Yeah.
yeah, actually that's crazy because my family did the same exact thing.
Oh, nice.
We got off of Amazon a projector and we just put it up in our living room and we project movies up there. We just did that
Oh,
last
yeah.
so fun. Yeah, that's so cool that I think that a lot of families have invested in some at-home activities like that.
Yeah.
So besides living through this pandemic, a lot of other like issues have been brought up in this world or things that were already issues, but
Yeah.
now like movements and stuff like that. So have you been in any part of any activist work during this time?
I mean, if by activist work you mean like signing petitions and going to protests, then I'd say then like yeah, I'd say so. It's like I have been going to like protests that like I am able to go to, considering like I can't really drive. Um, so it's like the ones that are in like Greenfield and Northfield, I definitely have been like taking advantage of going to those.
It was brought to my attention I should mention this because whenever I would talk to people, they would always bring this app up. So I'm just going to ask you, have you used TikTok at all during this time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Normally like have it on in the background or but yeah, it's like before quarantine I didn't really care about TikTok or have it, but then like once quarantine started I was like, okay, I have nothing better to do. I'll just bite the bullet and get it.
And I have one more question actually, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
going to be if you could tell future generations that maybe didn't live through this pandemic, you could tell them one thing about your experience or just what it's like to live during this time, what would you tell them?
Um, I'd probably future generations. I'd probably say there's there's a lot more going on right now than can be put in history books.
Yeah, so do you have anything else that you would like to say or mention or nothing at all?
Um, I mean, not that I can think of. It's like 2020 has been a crazy ride.
Yeah,
Racing with like the election coming up. It's like this is definitely a very crazy year.
that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Yeah, it was nice to see you again.
it was nice to see you too.